All right, we are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Atheist Republic Sunday Hangout. I'm Makisha, and today with us so far we have Ali, Armin, Courtney, Hassan, Ali, and we are going to be talking today a bit about the consulates that Atheist Republic has started, which is a way that people who are engaged in Atheist Republic can get together with other Atheist Republic people in their area and other atheists who may or may not be involved with the Republic, and also just what's going on locally in people's areas, what we would like to see happen, ideas we might have for Atheist Republic, and local things going on. We might also talk a bit about some conferences that have been going on, some speaking that Armin's been doing, and anything else that pops up along the way. So let's get started with somebody explaining for everyone what the Atheist Republic consulates are all about. I know we started out on the website just for informational purposes. If you go into the volunteer section, you can sign up to become a meetup coordinator, and that's what we started calling that role. These names might change. We're trying to kind of figure out some standardized language so that we know what we're all talking about as we go along. But when we say the consulates, that's what we're talking about, the meetup groups that are forming on Facebook to try to get people together in the brick and mortar world. So if somebody could explain that, how that's been going, where we're at with that process, maybe Armin, you would be the best person, but I'm not sure if that's been handed off to somebody else, so you can let me know.
Well, we have a private. So we have the Atheist Republic website. We have the Atheist Republic Facebook page, which is a big page with over 1 million fans, and we have an Atheist Republic private group, which has about 60,000 members, where atheists discuss there. And one post you kept on seeing happening is like people kept on posting, asking like, "Hey, are there any atheists in Manila? Are there any atheists in this city or that city, like, or in Cairo?" And they kept on trying to find other atheists in their areas. And then one time we asked like, "Hey, what if we make an atheist group for every city, so that people from that city could just find each other and meet each other and talk to each other?" And we asked, should we do that? And so many people were like, yes, we would love to have that. And so we were like, okay, let's create the Atheist Republic consulates. And as soon as we made it, some cities really start picking up, some cities didn't, are slowly they were a little bit slower in their growth, but some cities we didn't know they were so popular that we didn't make it initially, and then we eventually made a concept for them. But eventually we saw that so many people actually would love to have that. At first we thought like we should make this group, and these are again private Facebook groups, just for people to create, to have meetups and schedule events and come up with plans to meet each other. But then we felt like these groups could just be a place where they discuss issues where it's relevant in their area as well. So it's not just for meetups anymore. And if you just, for example, if you're an atheist from Cairo, Egypt, or Washington in the United States, you could maybe you have maybe you want to join this group to be able to meet atheists in your area, or maybe you just want to join just to be able to talk about issues that is relevant only to people in that area. So we started it, and there was a lot of great demand for it, and so far it's been very welcome that we have done that. And we made a link on our website that has them all listed, so you could easily first select your country and then look for your city and see if there's a consulate for it. And the link will be in the description of this of the video for this, the YouTube video for this. It's also on the event page for this Hangout. Um yeah, and also if your city is not there, you could easily become a meetup coordinator and start a consulate for your city. There's a lot of requests for cities that were not there, and yes, we're going to be adding them soon. So just let us know if there's cities that the demand is there for it, and we haven't made one for yet. Anyway, that was my overview.
Great, thanks. So basically what we've done is as people have volunteered to be a coordinator for these meetups, which the consulates are going to look however the people want them to look. If they're going the way that, so basically when you sign up to, if you were to sign up to be a coordinator, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are in charge in terms of making it be something. The goal is that you would be a touch point, a person that people, and oh, by the way, we can have more than one coordinator in each area as well. In fact, that's preferable. So basically, it's more of a managerial thing. So you're just going to be the person who's going to kind of get it started, and then hopefully, as more and more people join the group, it'll take on the shape of whatever the group wants it to be, which is what Atheist Republic has always been from the beginning. So how the degree of organization, how often the group meets, what you talk about, whatever, that's completely up to the group in that area. Atheist Republic just helps facilitate that, get it started, get a person going who can actually be a contact for that. So if you go to atheistrepublic.com and click on the resources page, you'll scroll down and you'll see a link that says find and meet up with atheists near you, and under there's links to all of these groups, and we already have quite a lot all over the world, including places like Brazil and France, and so any place that we have a coordinator, we're going to create a connection for that. Some of them are going to be more active than others. It just depends on how people are getting involved. So that's all of my spiel as far as administrative stuff and where that's at. So we want to hear from people here and what's going on where you are. Ollie, who is our green haze on our group today, wanted to say something. Ollie, can you talk so we can see if we can hear you? Okay, now I'm concerned that nobody's hearing me. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Hassan, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I just noticed that most of my friends who are atheists are not unable to meet at regular meeting in Cairo or Alexandria, but they work individually. They created YouTube channel, created video, spreading atheist idea. But I don't want if they are not able to meet regular, weekly, or at least monthly. But I don't know why. But they are active. Okay, thank you.
Makisha, you're muted.
Hassan, what is your group looking like right now in terms of like the Facebook group that you have going for the meetups? What is going on in that group right now? Are you guys chatting? Are you arranging points of connection?
Okay, in Facebook group, they are share and post video and article that they created about atheists and criticizing Islam or Christianity, but I don't understand them. They just work through social media, but don't interest in meeting face to face, but they just share. and post their activity on Facebook group, and also we chat on Facebook group, but we don't meet face to face. That's my point.
It do you think that's so? There's not a lot of interest in getting together face to face.
I don't know, but most of us know each other personally, and we can connect with phone or Facebook and private message. So maybe they don't see any necessary to meet face to face.
Can you give us an idea, Hassan? What not everybody knows what each place is like for atheists. So can you give us an idea of what the climate is like in Cairo right now for an atheist who wanted to, who's actually out as an atheist? What is that like for people in Cairo?
Sorry, can you repeat your answer?
So is it the political climate in Cairo, the religious situation, and the political situation in Egypt? What is it like for atheists who want to get together openly, publicly?
Oh yeah, okay. Yes, okay. In the past, we had a chance to meet on cafe in Cairo and gather publicity, but the government shut down all of the cafe in Cairo that atheists sit down to in this cafe. And also, according to the law, atheist is criminalized by the Egyptian law. So we face risk in terms of law, and also from the society. If people recognize us, and maybe some of them religious, yeah, we have problem in this issue. So at the moment we can meet, but not with lots of people, and also in a safe place in Cairo or in Hurghada. Many of Egyptian atheists now in Hurghada, because Hurghada is tourist city and it is safe for atheists.
Thank you, Hassan. I'm not, it obviously changes quite frequently as well, just the climate for atheists around the world, and I always like giving people a chance to share what that's like. So maybe that's also part of it, is you're not going to probably get 65 people together in one place who are all atheists. So again, that a lot of the people who want to find atheists in their area, the reason why they're having a hard time finding atheists is because it is not as safe to gather openly. So that also getting people together on Facebook, and then maybe that could be a connection point to figure out how they can safely meet other atheists. Because there is definitely, obviously, we've talked about this in the past, the isolation that a lot of atheists feel is very real in a lot of places around the world. So Ali, I think you wanted to talk earlier, and I was having a hard time getting you all connected. So let me give you another chance, and then Armin. Ali, go ahead. Okay, I don't hear Ali. Does anybody else? I don't think he's actually talking. No, he is. Okay, so Ali, we can't hear you. I'm not sure if it's a problem with the mic or what. You are unmuted, so we should be able to. I'm going to let you look at that, and then Armin, you had something to say.
Yeah, I just want to point out that some people are saying, keep pointing out in this consulate that what if there is like a religious fundamentalist in this group, and is looking to find atheists, and I just want to point out that we can't guarantee that there, then nobody's going to find out about you being an atheist group. So it's a shame that Facebook doesn't allow you to have dummy accounts. I mean, you can still have dummy accounts and use it until Facebook finds out that it's not a real person. But it's really sad that Facebook doesn't is against profiles with fake names. It's because really a lot of ex-Muslims do need to be able to have these accounts and be able to express themselves freely. Especially in countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia. This is Facebook has this policy because they want to make sure that every account represents a real person, but most people that do have fake accounts never get targeted, and Facebook usually doesn't find out. But ex-Muslims usually do get reported. So this rule unfairly targets people that really need to hide their identity. Facebook usually doesn't take any action until somebody reports your account for being fake. And ex-Muslims, when they are expressing their opinions about Islam or religion or God, then usually somebody comes in and says like, hey, this is a fake account. I mean, even a lot of us here that don't have our account is real, we have been reported for having fake accounts, and some of us had our accounts suspended, and we had to give Facebook government IDs to be able to come to get back. And some of us haven't even gotten our real accounts back yet. But a lot of these ex-Muslims, they have created accounts based on not real names, and they have created a lot of networks and a lot of connections, and found a lot of new friends to be able to express themselves, and finally they meet a community, and all of a sudden somebody comes reports their accounts and they lose all these connections, which is really, really sad. But unfortunately right now, that is the only way. If you're afraid, if you live in an area where you want to meet other atheists and you're afraid that based on your activity, somebody's going to find out that you're an atheist, unfortunately, creating right now, even secret groups cannot provide you that safety. The only way is to create accounts that doesn't have any of your personal information. Just maybe if you're doing that and you find friends and people that you want to stay in touch with, just make sure that you save these links to these friends, these profiles somewhere else. So that if your account does get eventually removed for being not real, you'll be able to find them again, and that's another reason why we're creating these groups, right? Because once you lose your profile, you all of a sudden lose touch with all the people that you managed to build a network with for a long time, and now you have to start from the beginning. But if we have groups like this for every city, at least now you have all those members who are like, hey guys, I'm back. I got kicked out of Facebook for being fake. Now here's my new account. So that's another reason. All right, I'm just gonna let somebody else speak for a while.
And I think that as we go along, there's always new things coming up, new platforms and opportunities for people to connect. So here and there, somebody will say, "Oh, does Atheist Republic have a group on this particular app or this chat platform or whatever?" And really, there's nothing stopping anybody from starting that group, and we can have the reason why we have people apply is to do a little bit of front-end filtering so that we can hopefully get, but there's no, as Armin said, there's no guarantee that somebody's not just posing as an atheist or something, but we do try to do a little bit of that on the front end. But there are a lot of ways that you can protect your identity on Facebook. There's ways that you can get together with people in other groups that are encrypted, that don't require a cell phone number, things like that. So, of course, when it protects those people, it also protects people who might have more nefarious plans. So there's a balance of that, and Facebook always errs on the side of transparency in terms of the person's identity, so that if somebody is misbehaving, it's a little bit easier to track them down or whatever. But there are other ways that people can connect. So if you have ideas, if you have platforms where you know atheists are getting together, if it's through apps or ways that people meet up, those are the things that we need to hear. We need to hear from that. These are not static systems. They're constantly in flux and changing, and we need to hear what the people want and what's going on in your area. So contact us, let us know. There's 1,000,001 ways that you can get a hold of anybody through Atheist Republic, so definitely let us know what's happening. I'm going to try to hear from Ali again, because I know that his group is pretty active, and hopefully we can hear him this time. Let's give it a try. No. That makes me grumpy. Okay, so Ali has mentioned in our chat sidebar, since apparently only his fingers can do the talking today, that there are some privacy settings in the meetups that allow the organizers of the group to make themselves invisible to non-members. This is a good reminder to anybody actually on Facebook who might be concerned about your privacy or your identity. You really need to dig into these settings. When you start a group, there's a lot of options, and once the group is actually established, more options become available. So it's important for you personally to really look into those security settings. There's a lot of stuff. If you just Google ways to make yourself more private on Facebook, there's a lot of sites that will kind of walk you through the things you need to select and deselect. And we're going to try Ali again. No, we're not getting any. It's like completely dead air. It's not even that we, that it's hard to hear. It's that like there's no sound at all. So that's really important to do once you start a group. That's okay. Ali, no worries. Once you start a group, or if you're on Facebook and you're concerned, it is important to look into those privacy settings. Is anybody else who is here today organizing? It doesn't even have to be through the Atheist Republic consulates, but do you get together with other atheists? Not just, hey, we're friends and we all happen to be atheists, but this is an organized group where atheists are getting together to talk, to hang out, whatever. Is there anybody here who does that on a regular basis, or are groups going on in your area that you know about that maybe you're not participating in? Yeah, Armin.
No, I was just saying, yes, I do that. There's a lot of different groups in Vancouver. We have the Free Thinkers Club, we have the Skeptics group. And another thing is, like, some people join these groups and like, hey, why do we have a consulate for this city? We already have meetup groups in this city. Well, one of the reasons why we have these consulates is so that people could join and learn about the fact that there are meetups in their city. They'll just let people know that there's meetup in their city. But if you join these groups, you could introduce, like, it's good to introduce people to these meetups, but please, like, not take people away from the consulate, because we want people to stay in the consulate. Maybe there's new meetups that are coming in the future, and consulates are a good way to introduce them to many different ways. Also, if anyone has meetup groups and they want to make them Atheist Republic meetups, that would give us a way for us to promote them even more. So if you already have a network in place and you already have meetups and you want to change that to become Atheist Republic, then we could make it part of the Atheist Republic consulates, and that would mean that we would be able to promote it on our website, on our Facebook page, on our Twitter account, and everywhere else. I think Ali and Casper had something to
add. Okay. Ali, did you have something that you wanted to add to the mix?
I did. And on the note of what goes on in my area, we do have an atheist church, kind of. Every Sunday, there's a community service where people actually do get together and kind of sing, not Christian hymns, but they kind of talk about latest issues going on in the world, and things like that. So it's kind of has a feel of church. It has a feel of a community, but that's one of the most active atheist things in my area that I've seen. We also, I wanted to add about what people do in the consulates. You know, that we said that we could do anything. It's all about the feel of the group. But the cool part about having the chat area and then everyone, you know, talking about getting together for meetups and things is you can choose to do anything you want to with the group. If you want to go hang out and get coffee, or go to bookstores, or turn it into an atheist book club where you guys gather every week and do things, that's great. Another thing that I think we kind of talked about when Casper first started talking about doing the consulates was kind of doing things in the community, which I think is awesome. Every year I adopt a kid in need for Christmas, so I just buy them Christmas gifts, and I think that it'd be so cool if as a consulate together, everybody as Atheist Republic consulate in, you know, wherever, Vancouver, you adopt a child or adopt an elderly person, and I know not every atheist celebrates Christmas, I still do, but, you know, adopt them and give them a holiday, give them some presents, and do it as a community service. So the vast things you can do with a consulate, you can do so much. We hear constantly atheists say, what can I do in my area? I don't like this about my area. Start a political thing if you want. You know, I live in a state capital where I can go down and I can protest at the state capitol. If you want more atheists in politics, whatever it is, you're free to do anything you want to do with a group of people there. And it really is this awesome outlet for everybody in AR, everybody who comes to us saying, what can I do? I want to be an activist. What else can I do? Join these groups. Find other people that are very interested in the same topics as you and just do it. It doesn't have to be just coffee. It doesn't have to be just hanging out. You can actually do amazing things with these groups, and I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, Allie. And one of the other benefits of having an Atheist Republic consulate is that we have a huge pool of resources and knowledge and information that you can draw from. So, for example, Ollie was talking about in the San Diego group there might be some people trying to come in and pose as atheists, and they kind of pretty quickly out themselves. And there might also be a situation where people take advantage of the opportunity to have a platform, and that happens a lot. You know, people know that they have the ear of the people, and so they're going to take advantage of that. If those things start coming up, you're not alone, right? So if you start a group on your own, it can feel sort of like you're just out there and you're responsible all of a sudden for all these people, and you're responsible for their essential well-being in the group, and that can feel kind of overwhelming. But when you're a part of Atheist Republic, you have that support system, and you can come to anybody on the team, and you're also in our private group that we have automatically, and so you can ask questions. You can say, hey, what do I do about this guy? By starting these meetups, you're not committing yourself to anything more than what you're able to give, and so whatever that ends up looking like is great. And there is a huge, this has come up a lot where atheists in the group have said, you know, there's all these religious groups doing X, Y, and Z. What are atheists doing? How can we? And Allie mentioned that, and that definitely is something that people really seem to want to do. We have a lot of people who want to help the people in their community, but they don't. The only options are, you know, religious organizations, and they really want to do that differently. So that's an opportunity for that as well within the group. Okay, so I think Casper wanted to possibly say something. I don't know if Casper can hear me. There we go.
I just like to elaborate on what Ali said. here in Tennessee, where I live, a lot of people like to do like charity drives at Walmart and stuff. And I think it'd be great to see little like Atheist Republic booths, you know, for our consulates, and get people to set up and ask that we give to secular charities like Doctors Without Borders is a great charity. Second Harvest Food Bank does a lot of really great secular charity work, getting food to needy families and stuff. So little things like that, and just making a presence in the community, I think was kind of what I was wanting to get at with forming these groups. I think that's an important thing for atheists to do in areas where we can do it, is to really like have a presence in the community, like make sure that people know who we are and what we stand for in life, what we think about, and even we can help provide pamphlets that you can print out there at the consulates and just hand out to people, like, hey, this is what we do at Atheist Republic. If you've ever had any doubts, questions, you know, thought about religion at all, like we talk about everything. Come join the discussion, you know, and just really try and eliminate some of the stigma of what comes with atheism pretty much everywhere. You know, even if you don't deal with it on a day-to-day basis, a lot of religious people do have some stigma against atheists. So it's one of those things where we need to get a slightly different image out there of who we are and what we're about. And I think this is a great opportunity to do that as a group and show that we have fellowship with our community members and our neighbors and stuff, and that we want to participate in that we're not trying to segregate ourselves and be better than anybody else or do anything different. We're still just people. So yeah, I think this is a great chance to do that. So I would encourage anybody that's interested in doing that to join these consulates, or get involved in other group activities with other atheists and secularists in your community.
And Casper touched on the. I'm going to wait until Casper mutes his mic because I'm getting some echo. Casper touched on the. There we go. Casper touched on the option for resources, actual physical flyers that you can print off and things like that. So again, one of the great things about being part of such a huge group with such a wealth of resources is that as these consulates grow and the demand increases, there are things we can do, like creating flyer templates where you can just kind of plug in your individual information for your area if you need to actually hand out physical flyers or send an email out to a group or whatever. And those are things that we can help with that as well. And one of the things that Ollie mentioned in our chat on the little sidebar here is, and if I'm understanding this correctly, when an atheist group tries to connect with a charity organization because they are openly atheist, that this can be problematic. Do I have that correct? Yeah. So, and this is kind of one of those problems that I don't think is going to, and maybe we can talk about this a little bit, I don't think is going to go away until atheists become more openly involved. So it feels like a catch-22 right now, where in order for this issue to stop, for people to be like, oh, we don't want your group associated because it has atheist in the name or whatever, but in order for that to stop, we have to be involved. So I really do think that this is one of the reasons why atheists need to openly gather and do things a little bit differently, and keep pushing against that more. And I'm not sure how. What do you guys feel about that? Is that going on? Are you experiencing that? Is that something? Are you finding ways around that you can still be open about who you are? Casper, you're unmuted. Did you have something to say? Maybe. Maybe not. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. What was the question? I missed that a little bit.
That's okay. I wanted to open up the floor a little bit for people who've had experiences with having a hard time getting involved as an atheist or an atheist group because of the name and the charity to be involved. And I was just opening it up to the floor to see if anybody had experience with that.
Well, I know a lot of charities that I used to give to. I don't give to now. Because I know that they aren't actually secular charities, and I don't. I think that having an association with a charity is a fairly intimate thing, honestly. I mean, because you're giving them your money and you're saying that you sponsor them and support what they're doing. So I think really being picky and choosy about what charities you get involved with is an important thing, and. So I only involve myself with like 2 or 3 different charities personally. But as far as getting involved with other atheist groups, it's weird because I live in a college town and it's pretty progressive here. But even at the college right down the street from me, they don't have a secular organization. And I've got some friends that go to college there, and I'm like, well, why not? They have several religious groups there, but there's no secular organization. And it seems like even
I think Casper might have cut out. I can't hear him anymore. Okay. Sorry, Casper, can't hear you anymore.
I think I had to come off there for a second. Yeah, but even the atheists that are openly atheist around here don't tend to get too involved in much of anything, really. Mostly, I see them at concerts, metal shows and stuff, you know, and then a lot of them are my friends that just don't want to get involved. So I think we have to kind of push a little bit and to try and say, hey, there's stuff to do, and we could get involved. I mean, it seems kind of boring not to have some sort of community and to be involved with that. But I'm sure people in other areas have a lot different experience with that.
So one of the things that has been brought up that people might say is this just a way that atheist groups are acting like religious groups or doing things the way that the theists do them? So I want to just kind of open up the floor for that conversation since it came up. Armin, you mentioned it. I know Andrew was going to chime in possibly as well. So Armin, why don't you pose that question based on what you've heard, and then everybody can go from there.
Well, can we let Andrew speak first, because he has the I have a response to it, but I think Andrew somewhat agrees with this complaint, so maybe he should.
Sure. I just wanted to clarify what the accusation or the question was.
The accusation is that atheists get together. It's like basically like church, and now you're talking about handing out pamphlets. It's basically kind of like spreading your beliefs, and that's basically what religious people do. And why you're turning atheism into a religion, and that's what they say. So I think Andrew has some comments about that as well. So we'll let him talk.
Yeah, hi guys. Probably an unpopular take on this, but what the hell? I think there's an element of truth to that statement. I think the only thing that unites us, if you will, is the fact that we all share a lack of belief in a God. And I think that is, we can all agree to that much, I'm sure. And then from that point on, in terms of what we believe in, the social structures that we associate ourselves with, politics, our take on gender norms, all these other topics that tend to be part of a larger construct like religion, is not something inherent to atheism. If you are an atheist, that is all that you are. You do not believe in a God. And when you're talking about consulates and even groups, even our social media platforms, you start to see that we develop rules, and those rules start to reflect larger social constructs, in the sense that if you're a homophobe in one of our groups, we're going to kick you out. But that has nothing to do with being an atheist. You can be an atheist and a homophobe and a Republican and a Democrat and whatever other labels you want to attach. You can be those things and still be an atheist as long as you do not believe in a God. And so when we start talking about things like consulates, if the only prerequisite to join the consulate is that you do not believe in a God, then I would say that that accusation is completely untrue, and then I would agree that there is no growth towards becoming somewhat like a religion. But the moment we begin to put rules around other things that are beyond simply the lack of belief in a God, then we're starting to become maybe not as fleshed out as most religions, but we're certainly approaching a structure that is far beyond the simple thing that is a lack of a belief in a God. And so that is my take on that. I'm not sure exactly how the consulates work. If I were to join a consulate and start spouting homophobic comments, would I be thrown out of a consulate? I think that's an interesting thing to discuss. If I joined a consulate and I walked in and I said, hey, I'm an atheist, but I think homosexuality is wrong, and I started using pejoratives to describe homosexuals, would I be thrown out of the consulate? And so I pose that to anyone that runs a consulate right now. If someone could give me an answer to that, I think that would be an interesting conversation.
I think that's a good overall question for any independent kind of group that associates itself with Atheist Republic. How does that work? What are there guidelines? Or do we leave it up to the individual group? How does that work? Armin, go ahead.
Well, I have a response to that. I'll try to keep it quick because it's something I've been trying to address a lot. So first of all, when we yes, they would be thrown out if they were homophobic, because to people that say that you're turning atheism into religion, or what does atheism have to do with not being homophobic or not being racist? One thing we want to clarify is that we don't Atheist Republic never claimed or never will claim that they speak for all atheists or that they represent atheism as a whole. Atheist Republic only represents Atheist Republic community. And the standards that we introduce in Atheist Republic, we never claim that these are standards for all atheists or should be the standards for all atheists or most atheists are like this. These are the standards that are for Atheist Republic, not for atheism. Atheism is nothing other than a lack of belief in God. For example, if you have a group that's called Americans Against Racism, right? If you create a group called Americans Against Racism, I don't think anybody would assume that you're suggesting that all Americans are against racism, right? This is just a group that is Americans Against Racism, right? And another thing is, so what would be the point of having a group with certain standards? If you look at the gay, sorry, Tanya, we're getting some echo. Can you mute your microphone?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. If you look at the gay rights movements in the United States, right? So we had a lot of progress in the past few years regarding attitudes of many people regarding, gay rights and and in general just how people view, people of gays and lesbians, and that's because these people got together. These people were they were very good at campaigning and making sure that the ones that were safe enough to come out as gay, they made it easier for other people to feel less ashamed, to feel more open about who they are, to to fear the backlash a little bit less, because the people that led the movement made it a little bit more accepted in the society, so they eventually became more comfortable about saying that they're gay. So, you know, it's true that atheists have nothing in common other than a lack of belief in God, but that lack of belief in God gives them, you know, in many places, in most places in the world, is demonized, right? So when atheists get together and, you know, they meet other atheists, they get and they're open, and they see atheists that are open about their atheism, and they see that there's a lot of them out there, not just on social media but also in real life, also people, and not just like if you're, for example, in Egypt or in Bangladesh, you think like, oh, atheists, maybe they're in the United States but not in your country. All of a sudden you go into a group that you see like, oh my God, in my own country, in my own backyard, there's so many atheists. I think that will encourage you to feel like, you know what, I'm not ashamed of my atheism, and maybe get encouraged to meet other atheists, to maybe reach out to people that might have doubts, maybe have considered that as an alternative view. So I think even if atheism is nothing other than a lack of belief in God, the fact, because it is demonized and because a lot of people don't feel comfortable about saying that they're atheism, still there's a lot of value in on them getting together and supporting each other when they can. And the reason why we have these rules, even though they have nothing to do with atheism, is because when we want to get people together, we need to be able to have some civility. You know, we can't have we need to be able to create a community where people could exchange ideas, express their views without being personally attacked. Yeah, when we say there's no personal attacks allowed, that doesn't mean that we're trying to redefine atheism. That just means that we're trying to create a community for atheists where people can talk without somebody, becoming aggressive and starts, personally attacking people. That's not redefining atheism. That's just us creating a safe community for atheists. Anyways, that was my explanation.
Yeah, and there are, when we say the consulates can sort of be whatever the people make them, that's more speaking in terms of structure and the kinds of things you want to do and the specific maybe look and feel of the group. But if you were to come on as a meetup coordinator, part of that is that you're signing on for what Atheist Republic has chosen to stand for. And those decisions are not made just by a single individual. Those decisions have been made and changed and adjusted over time based on the needs of the community and based on what people believe from within Atheist Republic. So when you come on board as a coordinator, you are signing up for those values and those particular guidelines that Atheist Republic expresses and communicates all over the place. You can look in the Atheist Republic groups, and those are out there. As far as codifying these things and making it a little bit better communicated or whatever, that is something that we're working on and something that changes constantly, and we go back and forth, and how much do we want to do this? Do we need to have some really codified guidelines that everybody is handed and has to sign off on? Do we want, what is that? And we've really been reluctant to do that to a really high degree, and we go back and forth internally, and by internally I mean the 100 and some, 200 and some people who are part of our kind of core group who've signed up, who have actually filled out an application and become a leader of something or a participant in some way. So in our private group we talk about these things a lot, and it's something that we are working on in terms of codes of conduct. And now we have to decide how is this going to go over onto the consulates, because we have a lot of them. If you go into the resources page and look at all of those, there are a lot. So again, this, as Armin said, and we will continue to emphasize this, we don't speak for atheists, we speak for Atheist Republic. Atheist Republic is not just whatever. We do have some guidelines and some behaviors that we won't tolerate, and that also extends into the consulates, and we'll probably have to take a look at that. So Does any, we're kind of all over the map, so if anybody just has anything they want to chime in with, raise a finger and we'll let you have the floor. There's a lot of conversation actually happening in the chat. I'm trying to kind of include that in some stuff. Okay, so Andrew, challenge us, my friend.
Actually, I think Casper had something to say on my previous question. So before I get into another challenge, I'd like to hear what Casper had to say on that. So I'm just going to mute myself again.
Okay, great. Go ahead, Casper. I actually can't, Casper, I can't see you moving like in video form, so go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say about that, about the rules and the sort of regulations that we have at Atheist Republic. It kind of comes down to the idea. I'm sorry, I locked up there for a minute. It kind of comes down to the idea that as human beings, we create our own moral structures and our own codes of conduct and stuff. And when we come together into communities and groups like this, that just has to happen so that we have some cohesive structure. So like you said, Makisha, it's always a matter of what the entire community wants to do. And it's a matter of creating an atmosphere of equality for every member of the Atheist Republic. If you join this group, you're going to be treated as an equal. That's, no matter how much you do with the group or why you're here or where your atheism stems from or how dedicated to it you are, you're an equal to every other member of this group. And we want to make sure that we let everyone know that that's what we stand for. That's what we're trying to promote. And
Did we lose Casper?
Sorry.
Can you just repeat the last sentence, your last sentence?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that idea of equality does, for most of us, stem from our atheism. It stems from the idea that there's nothing that confers any specialness on any of us as individuals or just because of our sex or anything like that. So all of those things like sexism and racism and homophobia and stuff, that just doesn't have a place in our community.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think when we say it comes from our atheism. Again, we're not trying to put boundaries around atheism. We're just saying that the people within the Atheist Republic believe that those values come from our personal perception of atheism. So and it can't just be a free for all. So especially when you have millions of people involved. So we do have those guidelines and in place for a reason. The community is going to take on its particular look and feel however it wants. Andrew, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So just to react really quickly to what was said in response to my question, obviously all valid points as usual. Well done, everyone. I keep asking these questions and I keep getting destroyed. But there was one thing that Armin said that kind of encapsulated it for me, which is that we're not claiming to speak for all atheists. We speak for Atheist Republic, and these are our values. And so that kind of resonated with me. I think it makes a lot of sense and speaks to all those concerns. My next question would be, do we think it might be a bit strange that we feel the need to form a community around our atheism? A lot of the responses to that, we kind of brushed on it in the responses to my earlier question, was that people needed to know that there were other atheists around. They needed to feel a sense of community. And we can all relate to that, but the question is, doesn't that veer more towards anti-theism than atheism? Why do we feel the need to form a community? Why do we feel the need to support other atheists? If I'm an atheist, I just don't believe in God. I don't care if you do or don't. If I'm an anti-theist, then I have a vested interest in seeing religion diminish, and seeing other people that don't believe in God feel more comfortable about speaking out about it. And so I guess that's my next question. Are we veering more towards anti-theism when we start to form these communities and try and promote, if you will, atheism? And so I'll mute myself and hope I don't get too destroyed this time.
Allie, why don't you respond to that?
Sure. So the question is, are we veering towards anti-theism because we're forming groups of atheists? No, because our purpose isn't to destroy religion. Our purpose isn't to combat religion. Our purpose is to form communities where we can feel comfortable, basically in our own skin, being who we are in our own area. You know, when I think of an anti-theist, and a lot of people have a lot of different definitions of what an anti-theist is, but it's basically somebody who objects to religion itself, not just you know, an atheist who doesn't believe in God. So no, I don't think that forming these groups is going to be any sort of substructure or you know, encroach on any other areas other than people just needing to get together to express themselves and just be happy that there are other people like them around. So that's my response.
My understanding of anti-theism is it would be somebody who's actively opposed to theism, essentially trying to end it. We have a lot of anti-theists within Atheist Republic. I would be interested to see the statistics and the number of people that consider themselves thus, but I would imagine it's quite high. If the desire of a group is to kind of focus on that particular form of activism, then that's the way the group is going to go. If the majority wants that and nobody else is speaking out, if somebody doesn't want that within that group in their particular city, then they should start another group, I guess, is what I would say. I don't think organization by default makes a group an activist group, which is, I would see anti-theism as a sort of activism. I don't think forming a group by default makes that an activist group. I guess that would be my response. Armin, go ahead.
I could also say that you know, I don't know why other people want to be involved in groups. Different people have different reasons, but for me personally, when I was in Tehran in Iran, and when I became an atheist, I was there, and I was, for a while, I was the only atheist I knew. And I think for a lot of people that haven't had this experience, it's hard to relate to how lonely that feels when you have certain views and that you think it's very important, especially for somebody that has been religious and has believed in God, and all of a sudden you come up to this realization that there might not be a God, and you can't even talk about it to anybody. You know, your whole world just turned upside down. The meaning of life and everything just changed all of a sudden, and you can't even talk about it. And you don't even know if there's that many people out there like you. It just feels lonely. It feels like everybody else is just an alien, that you're living on a planet that you don't even belong to. So when I found that there are atheists in Iran, at that point to me that felt like finding a family. To me, it felt like being part of a community that can understand what I'm going through. But they were shocked that that there was atheists in Iran, and I was shocked that there were other atheists in Iran, and we're really glad to find each other. And especially in places where atheism is demonized, I think even if we can't achieve anything, even if we can't reach out to new people that or do any activism or anything, just being able to make people that that wouldn't have found each other and would are interested in finding each other. Just being able to provide that service, I think, is valuable by itself. If they decide to be activists, that's, there's nothing wrong with that. If they don't want to be activists and they just want to meet each other and talk about different issues, or not even talk about different issues, just enjoy the fact that there are other atheists in their area, and you might think, like, why would you be happy to find other atheists in your area, even if you have nothing else in common? And that kind of point of view usually comes from somebody that hasn't had a view that was demonized, or didn't have an identity, like wasn't gay or transgender, and you felt like uncomfortable about people knowing your true identity, and they didn't know how liberating that feels to be able to just say that to somebody without fear of being demonized or any other kind of penalty. So I think that's a service that is very valuable to provide to people all around the world.
I think also, Tanya, I'll go to you next. Real quick, one thing I wanted to say, because this came up before, the accusation or assertion that atheist groups are trying to look like church or like religious groups presumes that religions invented that, like that Christianity invented the notion of people getting together one day a week and talking about stuff that they value and doing things together. That just seems so absurd to me that people would even make that accusation, because people have been gathering together based on commonality for way longer than religious people have. So there is nothing inherently religious about getting together with other people who kind of share your values and want to do the stuff that you do. There's nothing inherently religious about getting together and singing songs and reading poems and having someone stand up and speak. So to say that we're trying to be like religion is for me, I don't even think that really deserves really much of an argument in response, because I just think that's silly. And then again, I would also say, so what? So if your group happens to look like the church down the street, that also does not really mean anything to me. And again, like if we're starting to look like certain charity organizations, well, their bureaucratic processes are in place for a reason. Like the reason why we do certain things, like hand out flyers or send out email blasts or get together and do a certain thing, people do that because it works. They do it because it serves a certain purpose. We're not like, oh, let's just be like the church because we have a bunch of ex-Christians in our group. But so none of that really makes a lot of sense to me. Okay, so Tanya wanted to talk. We're going to go a little bit over here, so let's don't be like me and try to be concise.
No, for me it's very simple. It's just a place that I have to go, that I can express myself without having to justify anything. Whatever the fuck I say, nobody's gonna say, what? You don't believe in God? What? It's very I mean, you always laugh about what I say, but it is true. Because any other place you go, you have to monitor what you say. If you don't want to explain yourself, and you have to be careful, you're kind of stepping on eggs, because depending on the relationship, you don't want to hurt anybody, you don't want to, whatever, the dynamics is. In this place, I don't have it. I can say anything I want regarding religion, and nobody's going to say, oh my God, and I don't have to explain myself. And that's what I used to say to my group. I hate to explain myself. I'm so tired of that. We do that all the time. We have to explain why we don't believe in God, why and why and why, and I don't want that. So to me, it's nothing complicated. That's it.
That's awesome, thank you. And I think that's exactly what it is for a lot of people as well. And Casper mentioned this. We don't have any outside sign that we're atheists. We don't tattoo our faces or wear armbands or something. I don't know, maybe we should. So when we go into a mixed group of people, there's no way until you start talking, and sometimes those things don't come up until really not even like weeks or months of knowing somebody. So, you know, if somebody wants to find someone to date, even who's an atheist, or someone to just be a good friend with, it can take a lot of trial and error. And that's not to say that we all only want to be friends with atheists. Of course, no. We're all, most of us here have a very diverse group of friends and connections and family. But this can be, gathering together in actual physical spaces can be an opportunity for people to say, okay, this is a generally safe space. Like Tanya said, I don't have to explain myself, and the people here most likely are going to be somewhat like me in their kind of philosophy and approach, or at least in their atheism. So that is a value as well. Any other closing thoughts before we wrap up our Hangout today? Yeah, Tanya.
I couldn't connect from my freaking Facebook app. I had to sign on online on my iPad and then would connect. I don't know, just for you guys to know. From my app, it wouldn't connect.
We have off and on connection issues. I don't know how it is for people who watch this, actually. We're just I'd be actually interested to hear how it is for you guys. Since we're all participating, it's a little bit different. Andrew has a hand raised and waving there. Trying to be church.
Not so much a closing thought, just something that you guys might have already agreed to do. But once we post this up on YouTube, could we possibly have the links up to the various consulates? I'm not sure how someone would otherwise get in touch with their local consulate, and I'm sure this is something we already would have done had I not mentioned it. But just have the links up to the various consulates. I'd love to know how to join one in my area. I have no idea how to do so at the moment. Or if there isn't one, how I could go about forming one. So that would be great. It would be great if we could do that. And I'm going to mute my mic now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned this at the beginning, so for anybody who might be watching this on YouTube, or you just joined us, or you fast-forwarded past everything because we were boring as hell, and now you really just want to know what's going on, if you go to atheistrepublic.com, you can click on the link at the top right under our header. It's about the center of the page. It says Resources. In the Resources section, there is another link that says something that I'm trying to find. Meet Atheists in Your City. Meet Atheists in Your City! Exclamation mark. That's the one you want to click. And you can see they're separated by country, and then under the country there's areas, cities, provinces, states, whatever, that are, I don't know exactly how it's organized under each one. I imagine it'll just be continue to get more and more specific as more consulates come up. So you'll click on those. If you want to start one, because there's not one in your area, you're going to go to atheistrepublic.com, click on the volunteer link, and I believe they're called meetup coordinators. And you just fill out the information, and nobody calls you, we don't ask you a bunch of questions, it's really just fill it out, and if you look like you're legit, we'll get you set up. So you'll get a welcome email from me, and then we'll get you started. All of this information will be available underneath our video in our YouTube channel, right below. Click on anything that you need there. And if you go to atheistrepublic.com, there's 1,000,001 ways you can get a hold of us, through the Facebook group, email. There's lots of people who will be available for questions or to help you out. So thanks everybody for joining us today. Thanks everyone for your feedback, your pushback, your questions, your information. And we hope you join us again next week. Same time, same day. Later.